everybody, it's so good to be here on Relatively Sane. I'm so happy. I'm so happy to just be doing something, because it's really hard to just be home and be on Instagram and Facebook and whatever, TikTok and Tick and Tickety Talk and TikTokity Tickety Talk and Insta Talk and Talky TikTok, and it's just so great to be on all that stuff. I just feel really grateful that I can do that when I'm at home. But it's so hard not to see my friends, and I don't understand why you just can't see each other. When it gets nice out, we're just gonna go to the beach and we'll sit 6 inches apart. We're not sitting 6 feet apart. It's ridiculous. I'll do 6 inches, but I won't do 6 feet. I mean, that sounds so funny because the guys I like are 8 inches and 6 feet. So I don't know, it just sounded like I was describing someone that I'd want to be with, but not their penis size, just their height. So I'm really confused by what I'm even saying. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. It's just really hard. And what happens when we run out of spinach and kale and carrots and everything that I put in my shakes? I made smoothies, I make juices, I make shakes. That's all I eat is smoothies, juices, and shakes. Smoothies, juices, and cake. Smoothies, not cakes, shakes. I never eat cake. I don't eat cake, and if I eat it, I just put my fingers down my throat because I can't afford to eat cake, especially during this pandemic. I have to really make sure that my body is hard and I feel good about myself, because when the pandemic is over, I'm gonna have to go out and be around people. I just want to feel really good about myself, because sometimes I don't feel good about myself and it's just really hard. I don't even know what I'm saying right now. So I'm just gonna go slam my head into a wall because I can't even stand the sound of my own voice. But thank you so much for listening to Relatively Sane. And I just hope you really enjoy it, because today I have on Rosie O'Donnell, and she's so cool. She's so smart. And I just wish I was as smart as her, but it's just more important what I look like. All I care about is what I look like what clothes I'm wearing, what my hair looks like, and just make sure my lips are I always have to make a duck face. Even when I'm home, even under the mask, when I have when I'm out and people see me in a mask, I'm making a duck face. I make the duck face all the time. Even under my mask, I just make my duck face. Okay, hope you enjoy the podcast, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.
Hi, Ro.
Hi, honey. How are you?
Oh my God. I'm okay. I can't even believe what's going on.
It feels interminable.
I know.
And
I feel the same way.
When you look at anything, a movie, a TV show, and you see everyone just in a stadium together,
I know.
Is that ever going to be back?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
You think so?
Mm-hmm.
The woman who wrote the book about the pandemic coming 20 years ago, exactly, she, some Nobel laureate I saw on CNN, woman, adorable, smart, first in her class,
Mm-hmm.
She said the Spanish American flu took 36 months. And that's what this is going to take. She goes, it doesn't mean we're going to be in lockdown for 36 months, but that's how long the virus lasted in a strong way. That's from the beginning to the end of the Spanish flu. And it's we're in the second inning of a 9-inning game, and everyone's pretending there's no second wave coming. It makes me crazy.
Well, I don't understand. And by the way, we started. I'm so lax about this. Are you in your art studio?
Yeah, which is really a garage, and I'm eating frozen yodels.
I love you so much.
And that's what it's up to.
I know. Trust, I can barely get out of bed. I can't even. So, yeah, it's very weird for me because some fans have written in and said, I live in Texas and we're all out. We're all just going all over the place. Everyone's out now. They're just sick of being home. Things are opening.
Well, the second wave of the Spanish American flu killed 5 million people. The second wave, here's how it went. Spanish American flu, we're all going to go out because we're all going to go to the parade. And 50 million people were killed. So to not see the tsunami that's about to hit our country, and economically that already has. Numbers are lower than the Great Depression. Do you know what kind of hell we're in for?
I know. I said to a friend of mine the other day, I'm like, people are going to have to really move in with each other, and like it's really going to be, I mean, I know, I have no doubt that that's going to be a nightmare, like financially for people. And it's just crazy. It's like more than half, I think now, of people understand and see what we see and are humanitarians, and then there's like a very large group of people who don't even think this is a huge problem.
Listen, he's got 45% of the vote in every poll that I've seen, right? That means just less than half of the people in this country believe what he has sold them. They're like in a cult. Half the country is in a cult, inspired by lies and by incompetence of the people who are supposed to provide checks and balances. The fact that he took over the Department of Justice and he has this butt boy Bill Barr, and, you know, carrying out his wishes like he's some sort of dictator. And everyone's just, even yesterday, you know, when he had his big signs about America's #1 in tests, you know, and then he kept saying how he was #1 in tests. Well, instead of coming back and saying, well, depending on the metrics that you use, no, here's how it has to go. That is a lie, says the news reporter. That is a lie. Not there are some truths that don't add up, not some other kind of melodious little expression. No, he lied. It's crazy.
Yeah, a lot of people have been saying that, journalists, like, why are they not just coming out? But do you think if they say that, they won't be able to be around him?
It's okay. I think every woman should sacrifice themselves. When they get there to the microphone, they should provoke him. Provoke him. Let us see him explode like he did the other day, over and over. Let him see if he can match wits when he's under this much pressure. You know, they're deciding whether or not, when he gets out, if he loses, whether or not he's going to be able to be tried. They say, yes, well, you know, Trump is right, and he has, you know, all immunity.
Ro, what would you like? I know so many comedians that are having such a hard time right now. Like, I was on a Zoom baby shower thing with a lot of comics. Some, you know, like for someone that works at the Comedy Cellar, and we were all on it. And half the comics look so down. Yeah. I was telling my mother, it made me so depressed because they were just sitting in a thing like this. And I'm thinking, they're not working. They're going to be broke. They're freaking out. What they spent so many years on, like you, traveling and getting to a certain point, and now it's like
the bottom falls out. Not only of, you know, the time they've missed on the stage, but how long it's going to get back to a point where people can gather like that.
I know.
They've opened it now, and we're just going to have to wait another 4 or 5 days to see the totals. In Arizona, they're already 90 times what they were before they opened up.
Really?
That's crazy numbers from Arizona, crazy numbers from Kentucky, 650% increase in Kentucky.
Holy shit. I didn't even know that. Like, I'm really trying not to watch. Do you watch the news every day?
Yes. No, I don't watch it. I no longer watch it all day, but I did watch it all day from the moment I woke up until, you know, after Brian Williams on MSNBC. Yeah.
Do you miss, like, would you love to get, like, do you miss being on stage a lot? Because you were on the road for so many years.
I do. I miss it, and I think about it, and I loved when I was rehearsing my last HBO special that we went to tiny little clubs again. We didn't go to big venues, and there was something so great about sitting in the green room with the 2 local young comics and, you know, asking me questions like, you know, Angela Lansbury or something, you know, well, Miss O'Donnell, you tell us, oh, children, come on over here. when I was
Of
there,
course. Yeah.
right, which makes me actually feel great. And then I start to go, yeah, Ro, you're 60 years old in 2 years. That's like, think about that. My mother died at 39. I'm gonna
Yeah.
be 60 years old. Like, it throws me for a loop.
Yeah, that's weird. That's weird for me to hear. I mean, I'm 50. Like, I can't even believe I'm 50.
Yeah.
I think I met you when I was 29.
Oh, wow. Isn't that
Yep.
wild?
I was 29 years old. And I remember being on the cruise with you and then going to meet with your brother with you. Like, it was such a different time. And I remember when you said to me, do you mind if I go up? This was not too long ago. I mean, I don't remember how many years, but at Lovely Live, I'm like, mind if you go up? Are you kidding me? It was so humble what you said to me. I'm like, I would kill for you to be on my show.
Yeah, I always remember what it felt like to be the
Mhm.
comic and then have Seinfeld walk in and you're waiting to go on at the strip or at Catch and look what happened. Your whole week was ruined because you had a slot.
I know.
Right? They gave you a slot. That's all you could hope for.
And you wanted that $20, $30.
That's what I was going to say. You'd get your $20 bill and you'd go to the doctor. It's hard to believe we got through all that, isn't it? How many years of doing that, you and I
It's
did.
crazy. I mean, I'm on Long Island, so I'm where you started. So
What's your home club there?
well, it was it was Governors and Brokerage and McGuire's, all these clubs. But I remember I worked at all of them when I first started. Governors was your home club, right?
No, East Side Comedy Club was
Oh,
was
right.
closest to me. But I used to work Governors a lot. And did you ever work at the White House Inn? Richard
No,
Nixon's
I heard about it. But
Oh my God. He's the one who said I had to be called.
What did he say?
He said, because my name, everybody, in high school was Roseanne. Everybody called me Roseanne. Nobody called me Rosie in my entire life. And so here I am, 16 years old, going on the stage at the White House Inn with a guy who had plastic surgery to look more like Nixon.
What?
That's a fact. I can pull up his picture for you. He looked
Why would he?
Yeah, and he opened a comedy club called the White House Inn. And it was like a little talent show, and they had great cheese platters. I remember the food.
They all have good cheese platters.
Cheese platters can make a comedy club right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do miss it. I miss those days. It's interesting. And I'm so worried. Like here, I can't get rid of the worry.
I know.
Like just read one book about the flu in 1918. Read about what happened. Like it's not that hard. We have the computer. You can just Google it and watch a 3-minute video.
Yeah, but it is hard for people who are believing lies. They're very vulnerable and they're like watching Fox News and they're watching conferences and they're like, oh, okay, there's no problem here. It's all being blown out of proportion. I mean, they're really.
Yeah, well, we're in for it. I feel
Do
like
those people go after you a lot?
No.
Good.
I mean, whenever anyone does it on my feed, I just hit block.
Mm-hmm.
So I blocked a lot of people. But, when it does get through, I go, okay, or then I look and they have 3 followers, so it's a bot,
Mm-hmm.
But I've never been like in public and had somebody say, how dare you speak about never had anyone,
Oh, thank God. I've thought about that with you. I'm like, do they do that to you in public or?
No. Well, it was worse when I was in a feud with Howard Stern and his viewers would scream "Baba Booey" at me and they would go like that.
Oh God.
Yeah, that was the harder was the Howard Stern one.
What's that? I mean, I do that in my act. It's like they think you're going to get turned on if they like,
right, exactly. It's crazy.
I mean, yeah, like, oh, that's hot. I finally found my soulmate. Like, what are they? I don't know what men think that's going to do. Like, make sexual.
I don't know either. Now, are you there alone? Who are you there with?
No, so I live on Long Island with my wife, and I have, you're not going to believe this. I don't even know if you know how many kids I have.
No, I thought
Listen,
there
you're
was
going to
the,
freak out.
there was the one baby and there was the
Listen,
complications.
yeah, I'm
Right.
like, I feel like I'm falling in your footsteps. So I have two baby mamas. Um, so with my ex, I have Zoe, who's 13, my first.
Right.
Crazy.
That's the one I remember.
Yeah, who's an actress and a singer and auditions, and she's amazing. And then I have a 4.5-year-old who I think you knew about because she has heart disease. I remember, I think, talking to you about that. It's been really hard. She's had 3 open heart surgeries and stents,
Mm.
and then you're not ready. You won't even believe it. I have twin 11-month-olds, and they're all girls. I
I'm
have 4 brothers.
so jealous of you. That's the greatest thing.
If I could, I'd bring them over and just put them in your art room or just somewhere because
Yeah. Give me a baby any day of the week.
I'm so glad. I know I've always known that about you. You love babies.
And now it's so funny because my daughter is 7. Now I'm 58 years old.
I can't believe she's 7 already.
7 years old. And the other day I caught her sneaking her iPad, right? So she tries to find it and it's all about the iPad. And I go, what are you listening to? And it was a TED Talk. And she said, Mommy, I found this place where the smartest people go. So I'm going to listen to all the smartest people.
That's brilliant for a 7-year-old.
7.
She said that? I found where all the smart
people go online. And then she told me, do you know the Mariana Trench? I said, I do not. It's an underwater cave that takes us to the closest part to the core of Earth. It's called the Mariana Trench. And she's telling me about what kind of animals live in the midnight zone. It's crazy to
Rosie,
listen.
thank God she's watching that stuff and not other stuff. Like I can't believe she was watching a TED Talk. That makes
Yeah, TED Talk and understanding it, I was like, she was just sitting there listening very intently.
Is she going a little nutty being inside? Or, I mean, not being inside.
Absolutely loves it. Absolutely loves it. She couldn't be happier. She doesn't really miss her school. She doesn't really care if we go back to school or not. I told her that if there's no school in New York City, that she and I and the nanny were going to go to Malibu for a few months, like maybe 6 months. Just
You mean
see,
in the fall?
Yeah, I don't want to be here in the fall and winter.
I know.
I want to see what's going to happen. I don't want to be worried every time I step outside my apartment. I feel like I couldn't send her to school. I would be too nervous to send her. That school that she comes home with lice like 3 times a month. That school is a contagion lab,
I know they get so beaten up at school with the lice and this and the sickness. Like they're always sick.
Yeah.
Like
so who are you having all these babies with? Who's your wife?
So my wife is Danielle, who's a therapist like my mother. I had a deal that I got with NBC Peacock, which who even knows what's happening now with anything.
Right.
But it was about my life because it's crazy. Like I live on Long Island because my ex is here with my 13-year-old, and I have all these daughters, and Danielle she's 10 years younger, so she wanted more kids. And I was on the road. I mean, constantly on the road. I had a 1-hour special come out, and things were really doing great. And then this all happened. So now I'm like a stay-at-home mom with all these kids, which is so different than what I ever thought I was going to do.
Isn't it amazing how much they need you during it?
Rosie, I'm sorry. It's a lot.
I agree.
I'm being honest. It's a lot. I'm very selfish in certain ways, and the constant mom, can you play with mom? And then I don't want to do anything that's going to screw her up. Like I've had so much therapy. So I'm like, I'll give up everything I have to do to be with you. And it's like, I just always want to try to do the right thing and not make her think I'm blowing her off or pushing her away or making them feel that they're not wanted or loved, So
Is it the same relationship with the one she gave birth to?
You
Then,
mean like
than the ones that you had before her?
no, so my ex had another daughter with the same donor. This is so crazy, who would have been my daughter. So when I
Right.
see her, I'm like, hi, she's like, hi, Jesse, but that would have been my daughter because they have the same exact
Right. That's interesting.
donor and mom. And then Danielle we used a different donor, and we have the 4.5-year-old and the twins, and they're all siblings.
Oh,
So there's 5 girls, and
wow.
yeah, I know.
Girls are hard. They got a lot of emotions, you know? So
Oh
listen to this.
God.
The other night, it's the day after my ex-wife who killed herself.
Yeah.
It's her birthday on May 10th. So this is the 11th. I don't remember anything or even thinking that it was her birthday. It didn't have, on my psyche.
Yeah.
But I'm sitting on a Zoom call at 12 midnight, and the door from my balcony swings open. And it was the wind, I guess, but it was weird. And I got up and I relocked the door, and I was like, that's odd, And about an hour later, Vivi texts me, oh my God, did you hear that? So I run into her room with no underwear on and a long t-shirt, worried that my son's gonna come out. And I say to her, what, honey? She said, I heard men's footsteps going right past my bedroom towards your bedroom. And then I kind of yelled, and James, her boyfriend, was on FaceTime, and he heard it too.
Oh my God.
So the person, but now I'm at her side within 10 steps of, she's right near my room.
Mm-hmm.
So we walk down to Blake's room. It's sort of a long corridor, and his door is locked, and he's really asleep, and I'm knocking, and finally he wakes up, and it was funny, he was scared. He's like, who is it? I said, it's Mommy. And he said, what are you doing? I'm like, we think we heard someone in the house. Were you just up? No, hold on. So he gets up, and he's in his, t-shirt and underwear with a flashlight, and he goes walking around the house and does the, dad job that I'm sure, and deep down he thinks,
he's so cute.
why the fuck do I have to do this? But he he went down, and it was nothing. And so we looked on the cameras, and there was no movement. There was nobody going in the house or coming out of the house. And then she started thinking that it was a ghost. That it was a ghost, and she heard the footsteps of a ghost. So now either way, she's freaking out.
Mm-hmm.
We had to have the guy come and show her, like, all over the house, like the crawl space. There's nobody in there. There's nobody in there.
Yeah, I mean, I have the same kind of experiences. So unfortunately, my father passed 2 weeks ago.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, thank you. Not from the virus, but from cancer. But we had like 5 of those things happen. All
Really?
of us. Oh my God. I was at his house, in Jersey. And while he was passing, he was saying a lot of weird stuff. I mean, I've always believed in all that. I'm completely believe in spirits and the whole thing. And he was saying like really weird, interesting stuff. And then after that, same thing. Like Isabella, my daughter's door opened out of nowhere. Then I heard a toy go downstairs out of nowhere in their jumpy thing. It was the craziest thing. I started freaking out, and I just have to sometimes just say, it's okay. It's a friendly thing. It's not.
That's what I tried to tell her. I said, even if it was, a ghost, but then she said, well, I'm afraid that, the ghosts would try to do bad things to us. I'm like, they don't have that power. They just can, like, make noise and move things.
Wouldn't it be great if you could get a ghost to like scare the shit out of people, like Trump and the whole, like it would be amazing to be able to hire ghosts like cameos. You could just, can you torture everyone in the White House?
Yeah, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable, and to see this like circus act, this used car salesman of a guy, trying to trick everyone into buying the piece of shit that's going to kill him in 2 blocks when they drive away. He doesn't care about anyone but himself, you know? And if you were ever in a traumatic childhood where, you know, the parents were not really doing what parents in charge should, it's very triggering.
I agree with you 100%. I think for all of us who know someone like that, it's very triggering because it's like, I've been saying this to so many people. It's like, and I said it on stage too. I'm like, if you like him, if you think he's a good person and funny and says what's on his mind and takes risks, your father beat your mother and you never dealt with it. Like, it reminds me of people who are like, dad's just in a bad mood. Don't get him upset. Or he's just like that because he had a long day. Like they make excuses for an abuser. That's what it feels like.
Yes, definitely
They're,
feels like it. And
they're protecting him.
when that, you know, reporter from CBS challenged him on the way he spit China at her, like, you know, like I can imagine people do the N-word, right? Like in that kind of
China. I know. I can't.
Yeah, it was like a roar, you know.
I know
like,
this.
Ooh, it was so infuriating, and you know, to have people just sit there and take it. Thank God they're starting to stand up. Thank God.
I know. I totally agree with you. What do you think? Do you think I believe it or not, I can be very negative, not negative, realistic. I really think Biden's going to win. And for me to say that means like I mean, I am not optimistic like that, but I think that unfortunately because of what's going on and the economy and just all this shit, I do think he's going to get voted out, which a lot of my friends don't. But
Yeah, a lot of my friends don't either. I'm with you. I'm thinking he has to. Now, you know, I'm not a huge Joe Biden fan.
mhm.
He's not my first, second, third, or fourth choice, but that's who we've been given to use to, you know, that's the king on our side of the chessboard. Well, you know, let's go do a checkmate, everybody, because this man is out of control. And people like live in fear of him. Like
I
he's
know.
some, you know, corrupt mafia boss. He's a piece of nothing. He's
Yeah.
an illusion that Mark Burnett sold to the American people for 10 years and wouldn't give away the real tapes and the outtakes.
I know. I never understood that.
I blame Mark Burnett. I really do. I blame him.
I know. I've thought of that too. I mean, I don't know if legally he can't, but I just can't believe you would just allow that.
He's covering for him, and he knows he's covering for him, and he doesn't care. You know, and I don't understand why that is.
Because people are weak and they can't, it's like either stay this way and deal with your own guilt about it and work through that, or take a risk, take a chance, stand up for the country, be honest, have integrity. I guess he can't do it.
Yeah.
Are you working creatively on anything while it's so hard?
Yeah, it's so hard. I mean, I've been doing a lot with the pictures that I have found on all these different computers. This is the house that we come to on the weekends. We've never lived here like full time, and except for 5 years ago, you know. So it's not like all set up with everything, but I've been finding on the hard drives here like pictures of them and movies when they're 3, you know, and so that's kind of been fun. We've been doing that, but you know, I've been talking a little bit about work with Meg Ryan. We're thinking of doing something together. You know, and my HBO thing is out, and it comes out. I'm in it on Sunday night.
Can you tell me about that? Because I don't know a lot about it. Like I've seen stuff, but I don't know.
It's the book I Know This Much Is True, written by Wally Lamb. And Wally Lamb wrote the book She's Come Undone.
Yeah, I remember that.
Right, the 600-pound woman, right? And so it was 20 years, people were trying to make it, and it became available, and Mark Ruffalo's production company did it. And I play the social worker that works with both the psychotic brother and the non-psychotic brother. And my big, you know, it's like my big dramatic debut, right? And people,
Really? Wow.
right. And so I got good reviews and everybody's all excited. And my agent's like, now you're going to be able to get the kind of roles you want. And we're all stuck in the pandemic and nothing is going. And, and I'm like, well, enjoy my performance. I guess I'll never have another one,
I know. It's really insane.
Thank you so much to all of my Patreon members for supporting the podcast.
All right, hold up. Could you take a little off the P's? You're hitting them too hard. Not action.
Thank you so much to all of my Patreon members for supporting the podcast.
Hold on. Now you're whispering Patreon. Is there a reason you're whispering?
Well, you said to take the p.
Somewhere in the middle.
Okay.
You ready? Action.
Thank you so much to all of my Patreon member.
Now you got to pause.
For those of you who don't know, Patreon members, is that okay?
It was perfect. Why'd you stop?
Oh, okay. Patreon members.
Cut. Let's go back to the beginning.
Thank you
And action.
Thank you so much to all my Patreon members for supporting the podcast. For those of you who don't know, Patreon members get early access to the podcast, ad-free episodes, and access to monthly live streams where we talk more about...
All right, let's take it back to the beginning. That was perfect. Do it exactly like that.
I just did it well, though,
Except
but why are you
finish it this
starting
time.
over? Thank you so much to all of my patron...
Cut. Why are you screaming?
Because I'm just trying to get through this.
Action.
Thank you so much to all of
Action.
Thank you so much to all of my Patreon members. For those of you who don't know, Patreon members get early access to the podcast.
Perfect. Keep going.
There's so many P's.
Keep going. Keep going.
Ad-free episodes.
You could cut this out, right?
For those of you who don't know, Patreon members get early access to the podcast, ad-free episodes, and access to monthly live streams where we talk more about being relatively sane.
Hold up. Did we agree on monthly live streams?
Yes, you told me I should do them because it'll get more members.
I don't know how to do a monthly live stream.
Don't you just talk in your phone?
We'll figure it out. Come on, let's get through this. We have to go. We should speed this up.
All right. Thank you so much to all my Patreon members for supporting this podcast. For those of you who don't know, Patreon members get early access to the podcast, ad-free episodes, and access to monthly live streams. We don't know what that is, but whatever, where we talk about being relatively sane. If you want to join our fantastic community that is so corny, go to patreon.com/Jessica Kirson. That's patreon.com/Jessica Kirson. That's Patreon.
I think you said patriot.com.
Go to patreon.com/Jessica Kirson. That's patreon.com/Jessica Kirson. Patreon.com/Jessica Kirson. Thanks again.
And cut. That's a wrap.
Ugh.
My career was finally, I'm very grateful and I've always worked, but it was finally like things were really starting to come together. And now I went from a traveling clown, because that's what I used to call myself, to a Zoom clown. Like I'm doing Zoom shows.
Yep.
I'm doing a Zoom show for old Jewish people in Canada tonight. This is a true story. And they'll just all look like this, like angry, miserable.
Now, how do you get gigs like that?
People have been hiring me for like these little private things, which is great because I need to make a living.
Yeah.
So they're like, Jewish people, like an event for a country club or whatever, I of course charge them a lot less because I'm on Zoom.
Right.
But I figured it out. Like I have to mute them because they'll just sit in their living, they'll sit there like eating a bagel, like, this isn't funny. Like they'll just yell stuff out. She needs more makeup. What is this? And I'm like being heckled on Zoom with all these judgmental, entitled people.
Listen, I know. Sometimes I go on Instagram Live for no reason. All I do is my son goes, Mommy, you got to stop doing this. It's embarrassing to me and my friends. What are you doing? And I go, why? He goes, because this is what you say. Oh, hi, Mindy from Europe. Hi, Lucy from downtown. Hi, Frankie. Hi, and your eyes are down. He said, what do you think you are, a Wonderama?
Wonderama.
Yeah, saying hello to all the people.
I love that you're doing that, though. I've been seeing some major people on Instagram just doing a live just to connect with people. Like a lot of people like you that are that famous will just go on Instagram and just have conversations because they want to connect. Yeah,
and he said to me, explain what it gives you. I go, I can't. I don't have
I know.
I don't have a name for it other than, fame is a funny drug. And, you get used to that being currency,
Yeah, but I get it. It's the creative side. It's like the side you want to just connect to the people. Like you've always been like that.
Right, exactly.
You're so connected to your fans and to the audience that it's so hard to feel. I know it's really, and then you have to look a certain way and people, this is how my mom FaceTime. She's like, how are the kids? I'm like, I can't see you. She's like, you look great. I'm like, I literally have not seen her face in 2 months because she's like this.
Yeah, you do look great. You look very thin.
Oh, I'm not. I mean, thank you. I did lose weight. But I gain back some and then I lose it. And then it's just a constant struggle. And this being home is, at night, all I want to do is just eat chips and
ice cream. Yes.
Yeah. It's so much anxiety, but I think it must make you feel good that the show is coming out Sunday. Like it feels good when things are happening, no matter what level you're on.
Yeah, it just feels funny because I did all the press right here, talking and sitting. There's my good shirt that I wear when it's a press event. And, it just didn't feel like, we had our opening night cast party on the Zoom. Like it just...
Isn't that crazy?
The fact that normal life seems so far away is what's really sort of scary and kind of trippy in my brain. When I see any movie or any show or any series that was done before and you're watching how close the people are and, I wonder how long it's going to be till that changes.
I feel the exact same way as you. Like every time I watch a show and there's people together, I'm like, they can't do that. It's uncomfortable for me. I can't not focus on it.
Right.
It's weird. And then I've watched a couple of Zoom shows that were filmed while this has been going on. And that's also weird to watch that on TV.
I haven't seen them.
I have. That's how Amy Schumer did her. It's not Zoom, but she did it with camcorders and oh my God, that just showed my age. I'm like 8 tracks and phone. She did it with cameras there at the house, and even guys' grocery games. I watched that and it was done. It wasn't grocery games. It was like a chop thing, but it was done with social distancing. So it was weird.
I have a Zoom room at night with my friends in LA, and we play Password and we play all these games on it, And I was thinking when I was watching Password, we have this friend Eric who is so funny. He's a huge fan of Alan Ludden. So he'll literally say, and the password is, he'll do all the Alan Ludden.
That's great.
Throwaways. And I was thinking we could do this, celebrity and a challenger. All we would need is somebody to make the boxes,
We can talk about that because I've been looking into stuff like that, believe it or not. I do think there's possibilities for a lot of different kinds of shows online because
it's the only way I would want to do one. After I did the Actors Fund benefit, then people were like, oh, are you going to bring your show back? Are you going to bring your show back? And, I talked to some people who were, and I just said to my agent, if I can do a show like this, where I'm in here and people are at their house and it's, just like that Actors Fund thing, I would do it in 5 minutes.
When you did the Actors Fund, was that were there a lot of people on that coming in and out?
Yeah, there were. It was just a singer, a chat, a singer. You talk to them a little bit, and then they would belt out some, fantastic something. And people came on to talk about the Actors Fund, and Eric Bergen, from Madam Secretary. He's the one who put it all together, production-wise.
Yeah, I've done a couple of them and they've gone well. Like when they're when someone knows what they're doing, they go very well.
Yeah.
When they don't, it's a nightmare.
Yeah, it's complicated, you know?
Yeah, it is. I know how involved you are with Broadway. It's so, that's one of the things. It's like, I can't believe Broadway shows aren't going on.
Well, and it's going to be a long time before they're able to go on, like probably a year or two, because, you know, there's no way they can strip it to make it 6 feet in between each seat. There's no way they can change that kind of strangely overpriced machine as it's run, you know.
Yes.
Right. There's so many people, it's maximum everything, maximum ticket prices, maximum. Everyone's going to have to go, okay, wait a minute. But I think the depression is going to be here to make the other depression look like practice. That's what I think. I think we're going to be horrified at the looks of America by this as a result of this pandemic.
Do you think that's going to happen in a lot of different countries? I do. I mean, I think a lot of places in the world.
Yeah, but we just have so many more of the infection than, you know, we have so many more than everyone else that it may be unstoppable, you know, and now everybody's standing down and saying he's going to send the respirators to other countries. I'm like, hold on, sailor. We are not done yet, my God. And, you know, then if they do find a vaccine, which I don't believe they'll do for another 18 months, but if they do find a vaccine, they don't have any plans implemented into how to get it to the people, how to manufacture 1 billion needles, 1 billion cotton swab things, 1 billion, it's not going to be a simple thing, you know?
And Rosie, you know, I want to say this, but I've said it publicly, like my friend Nick. Do you know Nick Cadera? You know the guy who's, okay, that's a very close friend of my family. That's Zach, who you know, my stepbrother. Yeah. Zach, that's his best friend. So his wife, Amanda, and their daughter are living with Zach in his guest house in LA. And that's a 41-year-old or 42-year-old guy, no prior anything, nothing. Healthy, no asthma, no nothing.
And physically, Broadway actors, they're conditioned.
Dancer, great, not a smoker, nothing. And he sent an emoji to like some friends and just said, I'm exhausted. I can't keep my head up, with like a sleeping cat or something. Next thing you know, he goes to the emergency room because he can't wake up. That was his big symptom. He was exhausted. Mm-hmm. And ever since then, he's been in the hospital with so many issues and so many problems, and he's waking up, which is a miracle. I can't even believe he's waking up. But when people say it's only old people, no, I'm like, yeah, no, it's not true.
Right. And didn't he have to have his leg amputated?
Yes, and he's a dancer. Yeah.
But he would gladly take it to be alive. He has that baby, you know, all I could think of is, you know, he has that baby. This is not right, you know.
And his baby was born the same day as my twins. And they're incredible people. And I mean, I have another friend too, who's 51, he's just waking up now. 2 months, I think 7 weeks he's been on a respirator. 51 years old. No, nothing. So it's scary to me that they don't really understand it, that kids are getting it now in New York. Like and then you see people out like at parties. And did you see that video of the woman at Red Lobster?
No.
This angry, evil white woman wanted her Red Lobster dinner. It was like, it should be the show called White Trash. We should just show people freaking out over little dumb things. She attacked the whole staff at Red Lobster. They're all wearing masks. She's not. And she's screaming and hitting them that she wants her meal, wants her money back. I'm like, that's what I'm afraid of too, is the anger, the rage.
Yes. Well, this isn't how we're supposed to be, you know. We're supposed to be out and about and loving and, you know, moving and living, and we're just now like existing in our homes. I mean, and some people, I guess, have a much better handle on it. Kathy Najimy is in the Zoom room with us, and she is not afraid of it at all, and is not kind of bothered by the whole thing so much. And she's sort of just like, I'm like, how do I get that feeling of like, all I think is, oh my God, ring the alarms, the tsunami is coming. He opened the United States. We are going to be in for a massive epidemic swell. Who doesn't know this? You have to be crazy not to know this,
Yeah, it's very hard to know what's going to happen and be honest and truthful. And then like other people are like, no, you're crazy. It just reminds me of how I felt my whole life of trying to be like, no, there's a problem here. Hello? How come no one else is seeing this? And that's why I love talking to comedians and people who are, I just feel like it's different to talk to people who are pretty honest and raw. I miss that.
Yeah. It's a great kind of community of artists, and when you're sitting at those clubs, even though everybody's, getting their own way to cope, but you form some kind of, it's respect for each other, like fighters going into the ring, they respect each other, that they're trying to do this thing. And I miss it too. I miss that kind of intellectual perspective specifying focus that so many comedians have.
Like, even if you don't love their act, you don't agree with them, you still feel like they get it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like most comics get it.
Right.
It's, yeah. I mean, I never asked you this, if you don't mind. What was one of your best experience? I don't mean at stand up, but even was it your show? Like, was that your favorite experience since you became an entertainer? Yeah.
Well, it was that. I mean, League of Their Own was pretty fun, and it changed my life by becoming friends with Madonna and just the trajectory of my career, I think, because of that. And so that is really kind of has a special place. But my show was kind of like a perfect fit at the perfect time, and I think that for the time that it worked, it was great. And then when it got to a place where I was feeling uninspired and that I was doing redundant things and I didn't quite know how to forge my way forward, I left, and I always used to say in my act before I had any money, listen, if I was Oprah, I would take Stedman and I'd be on a tropical island right now. Somebody serving me. Stedman. Yeah, exactly. Somebody serving me pina coladas, right? And that's what I did. I quit. It wasn't for Stedman, but it was for all the kids, right? I had a bunch of kids under 7. And I wanted to be there and present in their lives like my mom didn't get to be in mine, So that's what I chose to do. And I've been lucky that I've had work after it. And, who knows? It's all been very interesting.
I know. I mean, what was the worst thing you had, like the worst disappointment? Because again, so many artists and comics listen to this podcast.
Yeah.
And I know people would be like, what was the hardest thing you had to deal with, you think? I mean, I know there's 500 things, but like, is there one thing that comes to mind?
Well, I had a magazine and they sued me. And they said that, they owned my name and they could do what they wanted. And that's not the deal we made. And so they used all their power, to sue me for all the money I had. And I stood up to them and we had a trial and they lost. Now, I didn't sue them back because I didn't want to be in an adversarial, like causing the war also, right? Okay, I'm not going to shoot, but I'm going to defend myself here. And, then you can walk away, G&J, and I'll walk the other way, But it was all this one guy, and his name was Daniel Brewster. David Brewster, something like that. And he was the guy who ran Parents Magazine, as well as the one that my name was on. And he said to me, like, I own you, I own your name, there's nothing you
Ugh.
can do about it. Your brother-in-law made a bad deal and you can talk to your lawyers, but we got you. You know, and I said, listen, sir, you have said that to the wrong person this time.
I know, I get it.
Yes.
Yeah. It's amazing when a woman sticks up for herself. And I always think about this with female comics, that they become, you hear they're a bitch or difficult to work with. It's unbelievable. You hardly ever hear that about a male comic or talk show host or men. And every single woman, in my opinion, female comic that's like risen and done really well, I've heard crazy things about, like, just that they're horrible. And it's like, why? Because I stick up for myself and I'm powerful and I won't let you shit on me and ruin me and take my money. And
Right. Right. Or they won't treat you as, you know, an equal partner in the venture, you know. I mean, the first year I was on my TV show, the head of the network or the head of Telepictures, Dick Robinson, I think his name was, he came in and gave me my check. And I said, I'm just curious, do you give all the men their checks? Do you
I can't even deal.
do you go and hand all, like, I should be somehow grateful that you're giving me the money that I earned by creating you just as much money? And so I
More
make
money.
this.
I make, yeah.
Yeah, and you get to keep the bulk of it, but I should be happy with what I got. And so you're handing it to me personally today. And like, it was such a weird kind of thing, you know? And of course, I always say something because I can't keep my mouth, you know, under control.
I say stuff a lot too. And I feel like that's helped me do better because I know they know they can't fuck with me.
Right.
Like I feel like the women in the business that have a better, like a stronger business mind, like you have to. You can't let them think they're going to get away with shit, but then you also have to like stroke them and stroke their ego and make them feel important, or else you don't get the gigs.
Who are the new up and coming women that you like?
Well, I have a whole group of friends in New York that we all work at the clubs and headline, and it's like Rachel Feinstein, Nikki Glazer. You know, they're friendly with Amy Schumer, Marina Franklin, Bonnie McFarlane. Like, these are all women who have worked so hard for 20 to 30 years, and it's a strong group of women. Very.
Well, I'd love to come see some of them.
Oh, I would love that. I would love that. I think you would absolutely love the women that are around now.
Yeah, some people will say to me, do you know somebody McKenna? And I was like, no. And I'm thinking, you know, there was a time where I knew all the female comics in the country, right? There weren't that many of us. Way back then.
There's not a ton, but the ones that are out there that are doing well are really doing well. Because I think we've all found a voice and take risks, and we're dark. And it's, you know, you have that male energy on stage, and some women are doing really well right now. There needs to be another outlet for women.
Comics.
Yeah. I mean, I know that you were on The View. Do you remember I did warm up on The View?
No.
You weren't there. I did warm up on The View, and it was the worst energy I have ever felt. Because I did warm up on a lot of shows.
It's a strange environment there, and it's a strange group of rules, and it was very weird, the whole thing. But the format, I think, is not right either. I think it would be better if there were 5 comedians on the stage. 5 comedians who can really discuss, not like newscasters or, you know, people whose job is their opinion and their perspective.
I completely agree. It's what I've been thinking about lately. I think that there should be a show with 5 female comics, and it shouldn't just be about politics and stuff. You know, it got to that point. But I think now people need to laugh also, and be silly and not be so heavy all the time.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what certain people are going to say on that show. You just know that this one's going to go say this one's going to have this response, this one, you know. I agree with you. I think comedians, it's, you know, a lot of times they pick not just the View, but they pick obviously that they cast, you know, we need this person, we need an Asian person, we need.
Right.
And I think just to randomly have 5 smart, strong women who are funny, who have strong opinions would be great.
Exactly. It would be really great. And that everyone, you know, the great part of like Chelsea Handler when she had all those comics on is you felt that she was supporting each and every one of them. That
Yes.
she was trying to set them up so that they had the greatest laugh line. So that, you know, there was no competition. There was no, like, you know, snarkiness a layer or two beneath, you know?
Rosie, that is exactly how I feel with you. I want to tell you that I tell everyone how good you've been to me. Like, I don't even think you realize it, but how supportive and just, it's never been, you've just always tried to inspire people and bring them up and help them rise. And it's not that common. Like, there are some female comics who don't do that at all. And I can't even believe it.
I find it shocking, but I found it shocking in Hollywood to begin with that, like,
Mhm.
you know, like Streisand doesn't have a, you know, a legacy to hand. Like, I don't know, like maybe it's Ariana Grande. I don't know. The boy, you know, I'm not the one to decide. Is it Adele? Is it, who's the one that's, you know, but I always was shocked that more women weren't helping women in show business.
It's really, it's interesting. So now the female comics now are very supportive of each other. It's changed.
That's
It's been
good.
like more of a posse, but I just can't believe some of these female comics who've gone through what we've gone through and were on the road for 20 years and never tried to help other female comics. I'm like, how could you do that? It's
Right.
horrible.
Right.
So
Right. I
you've
feel
been
the
one of the
same
people.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I always felt that way. Like when I see young talent, I'm so moved by the journey that they're about to go on. I'm so like overwhelmed by it going on and you know, getting birthed in other generations. You know, I had a
Mhm.
kid. Where was I that he was telling me? I think it was on Zoom that he was 14 and he would run home and he was gay and he knew he was gay and he knew it was okay, and you know,
Mhm.
even though no one said anything, and he's like, I always want to start to cry, and you know, like that is very overwhelming for one
I
person
know.
to take in, you know, and it feels, you know, like a tremendous responsibility. And there are some people who, you know, are innately better at it in some ways, but in other ways there's something missing, you know.
Mhm.
The show was unique in timing, what was happening in the world. It was like the right fit at the right time, at the right place. Like it just sort of happened like lightning in a bottle, you know.
Mhm. But you've always said yes to a lot of us, and it's really nice. I've tried to take on the same thing as you, like helping other female comics that are under me and try to help people get referrals and get work because I know how hard it is.
Yeah, it's so
And
hard.
and I just want to say how grateful I am.
Well, thank you. That's so kind of you to say. It really is.
It's true.
But it always meant so much to me to try to help in any way I could anyone get ahead in
I
this
know.
business, you know. Such a hard business.
I know. I'm very grateful. And I like anytime I've asked you to do anything, you're like, sure. Like even when I sent you about this, you're like, sure. I mean, that's not everyone does that. Not everyone is that.
Well, I don't say yes to every podcast. I knew it was you, so of course I
Oh,
did.
that's okay. Well, that makes me feel better because
I don't just sure everyone, just so you know.
I know. Could you imagine someone has like 12 listeners? Sure.
Well, you know what was funny is the other day, someone I like was, Orphe was going on live on Instagram. So I
Mhm.
clicked it and it was like a fan of hers who had gone into meet her like when she did Legally Blonde, and he was totally fangirling out on her.
Yeah.
And she was just sitting there and there were like eight viewers. And so he's going, listen, Rosie, would you ever do my podcast? thinking, who are you? What's going on here? You know?
I know. Well, they're trying to get everyone now because they know everyone's home.
Right.
I mean, that is like, I can get De Niro because he's home.
Right.
So it is interesting. I think you should go on with fans and surprise people on Instagram. I think that's amazing. People must freak
What's this thing
out.
that people are doing Cameo? What is that? Do you know what that is?
I do it.
Okay,
So
what it is.
So what it is like, okay, so a lot of people are doing it. You literally just get asked to do a video for someone. Like if someone's a fan, right? Say my wife is a fan, I can hire you to make a video for her.
And they pay money?
They pay a lot for someone like you. And I know like Gilbert Gottfried makes a living from it. There's people who make so much money. If they're just a fan, a lot of people take it. A lot of people give some to charity now because of what's going on. But there's people that charge $500 to $1,000 per 1 minute video. I mean, it's insane. So a lot of people, like for Mother's Day, people ask me, because, I do characters also. So I dress up as an old Jewish woman and put on a wig, Vivian Eisenstein, and I wear glasses and go like this. So I did them for people and they love them. So it's a way for you to connect with people, but you get paid for it.
Wow, that's interesting. I would feel bad that the person was having to pay.
I know. It's not easy that the person's having to pay.
Yeah, some of the people that, really would want me to do it, like, you try to keep a little bit of space between you and them. I think it might open it to, I don't know. Like when my daughter said she heard the footsteps, part of me was like, okay, one of these people has gotten too close,
I know.
Yeah, because there's a line and somebody loves you and they want to tell you they love you a lot and, you're one person and then they start saying, I'm going to come to New York. I'd love to just knock on your door. I'm like,
Rosie, I can't even imagine because I get it and I am not even 1,000th of a spot. I'm serious. Like I get that where people will send me a message and I don't get right back and they're like, I don't understand why you're not getting back to me. I'm like, who are you? Right. I don't even know who the fuck you are. I'm not even getting back to my mother. I don't even know who you are. I have no idea. And they get angry.
I have a friend that I met on Instagram about 5 years ago. And she has kept every text. And she's a homeless woman who lives in Seattle. And I have a picture of her here. I'll find it while I'm telling you the story. And she was putting up pictures of her daughter, who was around the same age as Dakota.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh my God, she's so cute. And she wrote me back. And then we started writing. And then she's like, but I'm not going to get to see her again for 2 months. I'm like, why? And she's like, well, she was taken away from me. I go, by who? And she's like, well, I'm homeless. I didn't know I was pregnant. And I went into,
oh God.
And I went into the photos. Come on, where's flagged? I'll be able to do this. Don't you worry.
I know I can't figure any of it out. I can barely send an email. Well,
she's texting me a lot. She texts like, this is over 5 years now, right?
Wow.
So she texts me and she tells me that she applied to community college and she applied for homeless, this and that. And she is now 3 days into her college dorm. She sends me pictures of her in her college dorm, able to take a shower, able to, both her parents were schizophrenic. She left home at 15 and she moved in with a guy who was a lot older than her, and he died about 5 years ago when she got pregnant and was so kind of lost.
Mm-hmm.
So she's been on her own, homeless since then, prostituting herself, which when you see this picture, you're going to think, what? Anyway, it's a really interesting relationship, but sometimes she crosses the boundary, right? Of
Mm-hmm.
like saying something about me like, well, you're never like that, or you don't like to try new things, you're very stubborn. And I write back, again, inappropriate. You don't know me that well to tell me about me. Decline.
Yeah.
I don't know who you are. Decline.
Yeah. I understand that. It's weird how some people get. They can be really nice, but some people can turn quick and you have to be careful.
Well, I know. And I think with her mother being schizophrenic and her being homeless and prostituting herself, that I don't think that she's in the most stable of, mental health conditions herself.
Mhm. I worry about that a lot with this stuff too. The people who are just have to be home and dealing with their mental health stuff and can't go see a therapist, can't do things. Yeah, she looks familiar.
Yeah, her name is Jody. So she
Jody.
texts me like so much, you can't imagine. But my point is like, then my therapist says, well, just stop talking to her. I'm like, well, what would that do to her? Right? She is dependent on me now in some kind of strange way. And I'm just going to drop off and go, listen, you got a little too scary and goodbye. Like, I can't do it.
No, I wouldn't be able to do it either. But that just shows who you are, because you're so compassionate and loving and giving that you got connected to this woman who most people will be like, get away from me. You really.
Well, I also think,
different.
The way people get through, because there's so many barriers to have to get through. Somebody who finds their way through and makes a connection, I'm always like, maybe there's something in that for me, How come they're the ones who got all the way through?
Yeah. I understand that. Like maybe it's meant to be. And
yeah, exactly. It's the whole Bashir thing.
Oh, I know that. It's so interesting. Yeah, I do believe that fully. I think believe it or not, I think there's a reason for all this happening. And it might be to get him out, believe it or not. I really do feel that way, that it might take something like this to make that happen. But there's a reason for everything. And it is all going to be okay. I don't think it's going to take longer. Like I feel like they're going to find some kind of vaccine, that it's not going to take.
They've never in their life made a vaccine that quick. Never in the world has a vaccine been approved that quick. Never.
I guess why I'm thinking it is right. Yeah, because of AIDS and stuff. But I'm thinking like since the Spanish flu, has there been something that's affected the whole world like this?
Well, they say Ebola was a pandemic and swine flu was a pandemic. But, this is a deadly one. It's really deadly.
Well, all we can do is, I guess, stay as positive as we can. And I would love to see you create stuff during this time from home, from there. That would be
Maybe
awesome.
I will. I would be love to do a game show where I could be like, you win, like
I know
something from my home. You win my Emmy Award. Come on, you won.
I thought you were going to say like a chair or something, but the Emmy Award, I would play it.
Saying something fun like that, you could give them that.
That's a fun idea.
Yeah.
I like it.
And if your celebrity loses, like I'm the host and there's two celebrities, and if your celebrity loses, they have to give up something like that from their house.
That's actually a great idea.
We're going to the bonus round with Caffeine and Jimmy, but Meg Ryan, cough it up.
She just holds up a shirt.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. I love it. We could talk more about it.
No,
I have some ideas.
We raise money.
Right. It's all about giving and getting people money and helping people. I appreciate you doing this so much, Rosie.
Jess, it's my pleasure. Honestly, I had a nice frozen yodel. I had some iced tea. We had a good talk.
It's all you can ask for now. This makes me feel.
I hope when the clubs are open that you and I can go one night and just hang out and I can do a guest spot.
I would kill for that. I will be in touch with you about some other things that I'm doing and see what you think, some ideas. But yes, of course, we will do that. Maybe you'll come back to Long Island, or
sure,
we could do it in the city or Jersey or whatever.
We have great clubs, great audiences on the island.
the best, I think.
Did you see that HBO thing, Bad Education, with
No.
Allison Janney about the Long Island School District that stole all the money?
No, I have to see that.
It's on Showtime or HBO. It's really good.
Oh, I definitely want to see that. I know you always know what the best shows are.
Yeah, no, it's just a good Long Island feel. Allison Janney doing Long Island so well. You know?
Oh, I want to see. Yeah. I grew up in Jersey, but I've been living here for 10 years. So they're both very familiar.
Child, it was a good place to grow up.
Yeah, it was great. Where you grew up, that Comac area is awesome.
Yeah.
Good people.
What area are you in?
I'm in the West Hempstead, Garden City area, so it's not too far from the city.
Right.
It's conservative here, but it's okay. It's where my kids are, and I was traveling so much it didn't matter, but now I'm like really here. So we'll see.
How do you love having twins?
I love it. They're not identical. I have to send you pictures. You're not going to believe it. Their names are Charlotte and Madison. And they look nothing. One is dark hair, dark eyes, and the other one is light hair and blue eyes.
That's so funny. I always wanted twins. I always wanted it.
Oh God. My sister has twins. My cousin has twins. So yeah, there's a lot in the family. It's so adorable, but you see their personalities already. Like Madison is just, kind of sits there, and Charlotte like pushes her down, and she's the boss.
Right.
It's so you already know exactly what's going to happen.
And is that the dark-haired one or the?
Yeah, the dark-haired one. And Madison was vaginal, and Charlotte was C-section at the same. Can you believe that? Yeah.
How come they couldn't both out? They only got one.
They got Madison out, and then Charlotte like spun around, and they had to do an emergency C-section. So it's just interesting that she's the one that's a little more anxious and.
Yeah, that's so funny.
Yeah.
How we get that. How about Melissa Etheridge's son dying?
I know. I just saw that. I can't even deal with it. I can't.
Can you imagine? I mean, that's the worst, I think. To have to bury your child,
And during this, Rosie.
During this, when you don't get to have a funeral or anything.
We didn't. You know what? We buried my father in Jersey, where my whole family is. And there were 6 of us wearing masks, with a rabbi wearing a mask.
Right.
And the rabbi said, you have to bring your own shovel. And we're like, we're Jews. We don't own a shovel.
Right. Exactly.
And we were all hysterically laughing because no one had a shovel. And it was a lot to have to do that.
Why did you have to bring your own shovel?
They just, I guess, because of the pandemic. I have no idea.
That's so funny.
I know. It was so crazy. Out of all things. I know. We're all like calling, like, do you have a shovel? We're like, no, I don't have a shovel. What use shovels outside of their house?
Yeah, I don't have a shovel either.
Well, you're an honorary Jew.
I feel like I'm a Jew.
You are.
Yes.
Yeah, you have that energy for sure.
That's New York for you right there.
Yep. Well,
listen,
I love
you. I'm going to go play with my 7-year-old.
Well, I can't thank you enough. I love you. I appreciate you.
You're more than welcome, and it was fun.
And we'll talk soon. Thanks again.
All right, take care. Send me those pictures of your baby.
I'm going to.
Okay, bye.